dispersed to. From start, brilliant. Let's move on. 12 o'clock outside, and we're going to set the words in here. Minimise the time out.
They're moving to Nottingham.
And you remember Flo coming through Swinton from the church? There were a lot. What a wasting time.
Morning. Yeah, morning. It still is morning, just. Thanks for coming. We'll let business carry on, of course, and because the branch of Abrooks is open for business until 1 o'clock. But it's particular thanks that we are able to use the premises to Martin Beaumont and Keith Peat, both. You just identify yourselves, gentlemen. They're both at the back there. They're the managing directors of Abrooks, who own this building. And also, we need a big thanks to Colin Parks, whose workforce installed the plaque over the last couple of days. And the plaque is about a chap called Arthur Morris, and his residence, his house in the 1920s was just sort of at the back of us here, down on Temperance Street. And I'm not going to say a lot about Arthur Morris, because the expert on Arthur Morris has stood at the side of me, and so he's going to just reveal a little bit about his life. But it has actually opened up a very interesting connection between Swinton and Hollywood, in the fact that Arthur was the grandfather of Julie Andrews, and it's generated this correspondence between Swinton and Julie's private office in America. We were hoping against hope that maybe she might have been able to come across and do this herself. We've not managed to achieve that, unfortunately. You're going to have to put up with us. Poor substitute for Julie Andrews, but she doesn't rule out the possibility of a visit to this area. But that will be a private visit, so we wouldn't have our colleagues from the Star and South Yorkshire Times around. They'd have to sort of wait a while after the event, but she's not ruled it out, but we've not got a date fixed up yet. But it is a celebration of one of our former residents, and after the event, people are welcome to join us for a buffet around at the Travellers' Rest, kindly sponsored by our friends from Haybrookes who are with us. But I'll hand over now to Giles, who's going to tell you a little bit.
Just a little quick word about Arthur Morris. When we first dropped on Arthur Morris, it was when we had one of his poems handed to us on one of his commemorative sheets, and we thought the standard of poetry was very good, and so did a lot of others, because on the sheet was an endorsement from King George, from Queen Mary, the Earl Lascelles. At the time he was very well thought of, and he'd gone right up the ladder with his poetry to very high standards. And so we thought we'd like to know a little bit more about this gentleman, and that was really difficult. We also discovered that Sheffield University tried to find out about him in the 1970s, and that they did actually find out that he was Julie Andrews' grandfather, but that's all they found out, very little. And then Ron James and myself undertook a lot of research. Ron, who's filming now, actually read through 17 years newspapers, believe it or not, and weekly newspapers, in pulling articles out. I had many visits down to London searching their archives, military records, and eventually it did all start to piece together very nicely. And the story that come out is absolutely fascinating, and I think it would make a terrific Hollywood blockbuster, because although he was the Pitman's poet, he led a very colourful life, and he saw a lot of happiness and he saw a lot of tragedy. And I'll not sort of tell you his story, because I have actually got a book coming out soon about him, so you have to wait for that. But let's just say that he was actually the black sheep of the family, and Julie Andrews did not know much about her grandfather, because he was basically black from the family's records. And when she found out that we were researching him, and I got in correspondence, we've now had over 30 letters from her, and she has passed on private papers, private photographs. that she had, although they were very little, she has got some very interesting information which has helped piece it together. But just very quickly, just to say what it's about, Arthur Morris was a pitman, and he thought a lot of his colleagues, he thought a lot of the ponies that worked underground. I just want to do a very quick extract before we go outside and pull the plug. And this is one of my favourites of Arthur's poem, and it's called A Pit Pony's Memories of the Strike. I'm only a pit pony, and where I prove my worth is where there is no daylight in the bowels of the earth. But one day I can tell you, I was filled with joy untold. They took me to the pit bottom, and my eyes they did blindfold. In the cage, then up the shaft, I seemed to go with pride. The winder must have thought of me, 'twas such a gentle ride. At last I'm on the surface, from the cage I'm led away. They take the cover off my eyes, I see the light of day. Later on, my mates come up, then it came to pass. They took us down into a field and turned us out to grass. We held a meeting in that field, 'twas just beside a dike, and we came to the conclusion the pit must be on strike. We thought of Odgers and Herbert Smith, and then my mate called Gus sang, they are jolly good fellows, and so say all of us. Then as we jazzed around that field, each pony thought that day that he'd found that happy land, far, far away. One day our boss he came, you know, he made us feel forlorn. We thought that we were going back where the moggies pinch our corn. To our delight he took us amongst crowds and smiling faces. Alas, this was our jubilee, the first pit pony races. Now first I heard a tremendous noise which made the people shift. I said to myself, there must be a runner down the drift. For as the noise grew nearer, 'twas music, understand. I fancied I was kissing cup as I marched behind the band. Now one thing that annoyed me, when they brought us ponies out, a bookie looked at me, you know, and then began to shout, 2 to 1 bar 1, I'll lay 10 to 1 you see, while down the pit my run of tubs is limited to 3. I thought, what does he take me for? 10 to 1 I'll lay, said he. Here's another one we'll lay down too if he puts 10 tubs on me. My jockey then he mounted, we paraded down the course. I seemed to hear the people shout, my word, ain't he some horse? We went to the starting post, all feeling quite sublime, where some chap with a little flag formed us into line. My driver said, you've got to win, so do not disappoint. I felt like asking him if he had charged his Tommy point. At last we're off, and they scamper up the course by scores of coppers. Oh Lord, I thought, what's coming off? My driver's missed his lockers. He digs his heels into me as on my back he's stooping. And then I think, what's up with him? Is he afraid of roofing? Now as I galloped on, and my driver seemed to say, go for all you're worth, because there's no muck down today. I made a special effort, my driver he sat tight, but just 2 lengths ahead of me was a pony on my right. With not much further now to go, I could see the winning post. That pony still in front of me was what upset me most. My driver let me have my head, then best form I showed, as that pony seemed to stumble and get off the road. 'Twas over now, I'd passed the post, the sun was shining bright. I'd won, and those who backed me were frantic with delight. So when you talk of Donahue, humorist and square measure, please don't forget 'twas I who won the pit pony St. Ledger. I've had 13 weeks holiday, I'll have upon my soul. Now I'm back down the pit again, getting out some coal. If ponies down pits could speak, with one accord they'd cry. If there could only be another strike, we'll let the rest of the world go by. That poem was actually about the Darfield pit pony races which were held in 1921, which Arthur visited. But I think it's a lovely poem.
Well, we've got South Yorkshire Police present in Mel Spur, one of our community bobbies, and his colleague from the traffic wardens. I think we'll be in their hands really. We said we're going to keep it really quick out there, so I don't know whether you sort of want to go and assemble where the dry cleaners is and maybe just leave this side clear. I think we need to just follow what they advise really now, because we've not done this before.
It's just
I'm very putting it down here.
That's all right.
We're short. Because they are. You want to come in, Martin? Ready? You ready? You ready?
Right then, we all...
Yeah.
You ready? It's a joint effort, this, gentlemen.
Joint after 3, then we get a tug. Don't pull Plaque down.
Right.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Ah! I've been framed!
I've got some steps, just in case that happens.
Might get near it.
Ah, I've got a window.
Yeah, sorry for the word. No.
That side. Way! Whoa! Magic. So he did unveil it after all.
Absolutely.
Well done, well done. Three people with a box.
R-E-A, R-L-E-Y.
Right, yeah.
Councillor Ken Wyatt.
Yep.
Keith.
Keith.
Yeah.
That's PWT.
PWT. And you're here, Brooks, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. Great, fantastic. Thank you very much.